Friends, today we are going to see about some of the important and interesting factors about the skin. Skin is the largest and most extensive sensory organ. It is divided into superficial cellular part called the epidermis and connective tissue part which is deep and called the dermis. The epidermis superficial layer consists of four types of cells, namely keratinocytes, melanocytes, Merkel cells, and Langerhans cells. Now we will see the layer of epidermis from deep to superficial. First comes the stratum basal, which is also known as basal layer. So here keratinocytes is present along with the Merkel cells and melanocytes. Here the rapid and extensive mitosis takes place. Next comes the stratum spinosum, also known as spiny layer. Here, the keratinocytes is present along with some of the Langerhans cells. Here, mitosis occur but less rapidly. This layer contains a tonofilaments called as prekeratin, which is also known as a tension-resisting protein. Next comes the stratum granulosum. Here, keratinocytes is present along with the more tonofilament, and here these keratinocytes secrete waterproof glycolipid that slows down the water evaporation across the epidermis. And now comes the stratum lucidum. Here only the dead keratinocytes are present, and the superficial layer is known as stratum corneum, also known as horny layer. This is the most external part of the skin which protects the skin from abrasion and penetration and also gives waterproofing. Specialized structures of skin are hair, sebaceous glands, arrectorus pylorum, and sweat glands. The appendages or the derivatives of the skin are nail, mammary glands, ceruminous gland, and the teeth enamel. These ceruminous glands are nothing but sweat glands on the external ear. Mammary glands are also considered to be a modified sweat gland. Study of finger and footprint is known as dermatoglyphics. As we all know, melanin is a pigment which gives color to the skin. When exposure to solar ultraviolet rays, this melanin becomes and act as a protective measure and which results in sun tanning. Excessive thickness of epidermis due to continuous rubbing and friction is known as callus or callosity. Strong friction of short duration causes the epidermis to separate from the dermis, which results the fluid start oozing from the dermis and which collects under the epidermis. This condition is known as blister, and when the blister becomes large, it is known as bulla. The goosebumps is produced by the constriction or contraction of arrectorus pylora. Burns are the most important damage to the skin which can be caused by heat, electricity, chemicals, radiation, or extreme friction. The burns are classified based on the layers involved. If the epidermis is involved, then it is in the first degree. If the portion of dermis is involved, then it is the second degree. If there is complete involvement of both dermis and epidermis, then it is known as full thickness or partial thickness burns. Skin cancer is the most common type of cancer in the Western world. If the basal cells are involved, then it is a basal cell carcinoma. If the keratinocytes are involved, then it is a squamous cell carcinoma. The most dangerous is the malignant melanoma, which is the cancer of melanocytes. The dermis is thick in palms and soles, and it is very thin in eyes, scrotum, and penis. Dermis contains collagens type 1 and 3. Subcutaneous fat is also known as panicles. It helps in the storage of fat. Rupture of mast cells in subcutaneous fat causes angioedema, and rupture of mast cells in dermis causes urticaria. Panicles adiposus is the fatty layer of the subcutaneous tissues which is absent in penis, scrotum, and eyelid. Panicles cornosus is the deeper vestigial layer of the muscle which is present as platysma, dortus, and palmaris brevis. The regular epidermal renewal time is about 28 days, and it is reduced to 4 days only in psoriasis. And the epidermal stem cells are hair follicle bulge, interfollicular epidermis, and sebaceous gland. Thanks for learning with us.